right, so as we discussed in the first lesson of this course, JavaScript is a prerequisite to be able to take this course, but I do also want to acknowledge that there are going to be some students out there who are familiar with JavaScript syntax, but may not know how to work with Node and or NPM. So I want to do a quick review in this lesson on what exactly Node is and what exactly NPM is. If you are comfortable with these two technologies, you can feel free to skip this lesson entirely. So first up, what is Node? Well, JavaScript was originally created for use in the web browser, particularly for manipulating HTML elements. And when I say manipulating, I mean creating elements, removing elements from the interface, modifying elements, etc. So its entire use case, its entire reason for existing was manipulating web pages in the browser. So JavaScript could not be used anywhere except for that environment. That was until the invention of Node.js. So Node is a JavaScript runtime environment. And that's kind of a complex technical phrase, but if you take it apart, it basically just means an environment or a place where we can run JavaScript. So Node simply allows us to run JavaScript outside of a browser. It basically turns JavaScript into any regular programming language that we can use to build many different kinds of applications. We don't need to, for example, have a web browser. We can use Node to build a JavaScript project that is, for example, a card game or a backend server. So an analogy that I can provide here is you can think of JavaScript as the engine of a car, in this case, the car being the browser, and Node simply pulls out that engine, JavaScript, and it makes it possible to use it in other devices or containers or environments. So now we can use Node like any language, like Python or like Ruby or like Java. It doesn't just need to be used in the use case of the browser, although it most certainly can be, but it's now more versatile and is now capable of solving multiple problems in different domains, right? So with the movement of the JavaScript runtime environment into Node, that allowed Node to, for example, power our backend applications. So you can now build a backend of a website entirely in JavaScript. That was something that we couldn't do before Node was introduced, and I think that was sometime like 2009 or 2008. So JavaScript was strictly limited to the front end, but now it's a universal language that can be used in a wide variety of places. All right, that brings us to the next question, which is, what is NPM? So NPM is short for Node Package Manager, and whenever you install Node on your computer, it will automatically include NPM by default. NPM is kind of supplemental to Node. It works alongside it. So what NPM does is it manages the metadata for your Node project and it also manages the dependencies of your Node project. A dependency is simply a library or extension that you download. It's somebody else's code that you add to your project so that you can utilize their efforts in their code instead of having to write it from scratch. So React is an example of a dependency, and React projects are sample Node projects, right? So React is a type of Node application, or to be more specific, a React application is a type of Node application. So whenever we are in a Node project, you'll always see a package.json file. And that is a JSON file that lists things like the project's name, its copyright, sometimes the maintainers, as well as the project's dependencies. So the library names, as well as their version requirements. And whenever you want to add a new dependency or library to your Node project, you use the npm install command in your terminal, followed by the library name. And NPM will automatically add that dependency to your package.json file so that, for example, if another developer then gets your project's code, they can get those dependencies to their computer. They can run npm install, and that command will look at package.json, identify all the dependencies that are listed there, and download them. So npm install can both add a dependency and it can download all of the project's existing dependencies as found in the package.json file. Now, we're going to see these commands and these concepts play out over the course. You don't have to memorize all these ideas now. The core takeaways from this lesson, again, Node is a JavaScript runtime environment. It allows us to run JavaScript outside the browser, so we can build all kinds of applications with it. And NPM is primarily Node's package management system. It is how we can add libraries and dependencies, other people's code, in other words, to our Node projects. That's all there is to cover in this lesson, so I will see you in the next one.